So Spyro the Dragon Reignited Trilogy coming out next month. Well, it was coming out next month. Of course, it was originally slated for September 21st, and now it's delayed into November 13th. It's almost like they looked at the calendar and they said, when would be the best time? You know what? 3 days before Pokemon, that'll work. And I guess that's where they are right now. And looking at it being delayed could, I think at this point, really work to prove that maybe 2 and 3, as a lot of people were saying as to why we were seeing downloads for 2 and 3, maybe they really were not ready and they weren't going to be ready for day one, and that's why they weren't printing them and putting them on the disc and everything and writing them to the disc and sending them out. That could be why. But Activision and Toys for Bob put out a blog post on Activision's website saying, "Everyone here at Toys for Bob is so proud to be reigniting the original Spyro trilogy after all these years. We're deeply committed to getting these games right, so we've decided to move the release date of Spyro Reignited Trilogy to November 13th, 2018. I really hoped that you would be rescuing dragons and scorching Rhinox sooner, but the trilogy needs more love and care. In November, when you're exploring the Dragon Realms, Avalar, and the Forgotten Worlds, we know you'll agree the extra time was worth the wait." And that statement was from Paul Yan, who is the co-studio head for Toys for Bob. So yes, it is now pushed back to November 13th, and they go through that statement saying that it needs more polish, if you will. I think a lot of people were correct thinking that 2 and 3, or maybe really like 3, something there wasn't ready. They were. It seems like they were coming down to the deadline, they were coming down to crunch time, and they knew they weren't going to get it done, so they were going to work, I guess, up until, like almost right up until that release, and it seems that this delay kind of confirms that. Now, what makes this more interesting is it does look like they're going to try to put all games on the disc on release, and that is how I would prefer it. I don't mind having to wait until mid-November to do that, and I'm sure there's some people who are digital only and they're kind of frustrated by it, but I like this idea. And a lot of this comes from currently Yongye, who actually reported from a source that is exactly why they're doing it. People from Toys for Bob actually went to Activision and said, let's delay this so we can put all these games on the disc. I also double-checked with Jordan Fringe, who's been following the Spyro stuff very closely, even seems to have sources that are working alongside Spyro and everything, and he also confirmed that it looks to be the case. So, yes, it seems that they are delaying it to fix what has been the most controversial, most frustrating part about this situation, the idea of having the game on the disc, well, one game on the disc, and having to download the other two, simply because they were trying to rush it out. This is a good situation of a delay, rather than a bad situation of a delay, where there is serious issues in the background, something that people always point out for something like, say, Crackdown 3, where it seems like they're having issues with the multiplayer, and it's getting pushed back, not because they're trying to put everything on the disc, for example, because the games work. It's because the games, I guess, haven't been working and they're trying to get it worked out. But back to Spyro, this is a good thing. I'm glad to hear it, that they are pushing it to get everything on the disc. And yeah, it seems that everyone was, I guess, kind of correct. I guess it could have also been that they were judging the backlash or the feedback from the community. People weren't happy. The whole point of this is to bring these games up to current times, 2018, with Unreal Engine. Sure, it probably took more work because with Crash, they had the original code and everything, and they kind of worked on top of that, whereas they seem to be recreating all of Spyro in Unreal Engine. Seems to be a taller task for them. It's just taking more time, so it's good to see this delay just for that. Again, it's not going to make everybody happy, but I think when it comes out and the finished product is all-inclusive on the disc, it'll just be better overall. But let me know what you guys think about this situation down below. Were you going digital and you don't care about everything being on the disc and you're frustrated that it's being delayed? Or are you on the other side and you're like, yeah, this is great, I'm glad they're delaying it so that everything is on the disc and I don't have to worry about having an internet connection or having to worry about download. How long does it take to download a game that I just went to the store and bought? Because it said 50 gigabytes of space on the back. Are you downloading most of that? Like, are you going to have like 5 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes on the disc and you got to download the rest because 2 and 3 are bigger? It's hard to say, but it makes me happy that this is what we're getting now. So I'm excited more so. The positioning of the game, I'm trying to think if that's going to hurt it or help it, because September was already packed and they were trying to work into there on the 21st. Now moving to November 13th it's within proximity of Pokemon, but I do think Pokemon is kind of for a different audience, and by different audience I mean it's for the Switch audience, whereas Spyro currently, we're pretty confident a Switch version is coming at some point. That might be next year, but of course Spyro is on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and there's a good chance that things like Call of Duty, Red Dead, and some other stuff would be kind of dying down a little bit, you know, weeks after launch, and they could kind of skirt in there at a not even a full price game and sell a bunch of copies. Either way, the Spyro crowd's buying it. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. I'm very curious, and I'll see you guys in the next video.